وسارعوا إلى مغفرة من ربكم وجنة عرضها السماوات والأرض أعدت للمتقين صدق الله العلي العظيم. For the honor of the Holy Prophet, the seal of the Messenger, and the best of the mankind.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Prophet Muhammad, salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala.
With ijazah from Sheikh Mujahid, inshallah, for a few minutes. We're happy to have his presence and inshallah be able to take advantage of his wisdom in the future.
One of the Holy Quran is
for the honor of the Holy Prophet, seal of the Messenger,
and beautiful
and
of the lives
mercy
of the
upon
Prophet
mankind, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, recite a salawat.
Within these
Allahumma
stories,
salli ala Muhammad.
there are hidden messages and lessons for our lives.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين روحي وأرواحنا وأرواح العالمين له الفداء. قال الله الحكيم في القرآن الكريم وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان واتقوا الله إن الله شديد العقاب. صدق الله العلي العظيم. May Allah enlighten our hearts and minds by the message of Allah, His final book Quran, and the message of His Prophet and his family. Recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Last week we talked about a few verses from Surah and chapter Taha, which specifically was about the importance of practice in our lives, and how significant it is even for a prophet of God, in order to achieve success, to be ready and to practice. And efficiency also was another topic that we talked about. Tonight I want to talk about another two concepts, which is from the Quranic perspective, are very important and very crucial for the success of human beings in the matter of their spirituality and religion, as well as their daily lives and when it comes to dunya. And is a continuation of the same chapter, Surah Taha. If you remember, we talked that in that story when Musa was returning to Egypt, he saw a fire as they were lost, and when he went to find some guidance and find his way, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked to him. He was appointed as a prophet of God, and one of the first things was said to him was to cast down your staff and see the miracle, how this stick of yours, how this staff of yours will transform to a miracle that eventually becomes one of his greatest weapons against the sorcerers who were hired by Pharaoh at the time. And another one is that look at your hand, place it under your under your arm, and then take it out. You see that it's bright, it's white, and as you know, this brightness is another secondary miracle. And there was a lot of visual miracles, because at the time people were very obsessed with magic and sorcery in general. And then after these two miracles was shown to him, Allah said, "Idhhab ila Fir'aun." Now you're ready, go to Pharaoh. إِنَّهُ طَغَى. He did طغيان. He rebelled, transgressed against Allah. Your job is to go and warn him, invite him toward the truth, to stop doing what he's doing. And that moment, when that responsibility was given to him and Allah commanded him to go to Fir'aun, Musa alayhi salam said something. And that two concept that I want to talk about is based on those verses that I will talk about tonight. And I want you to remember that as well. Alhamdulillah, somebody told me about the topic between two prayers of last week. So this week also remember this topic from the perspective of Quran and Surah Taha. And that is the two concepts of cooperation, importance of cooperation from the Quran and Islamic point of view. And the secondary is the importance of delivery of speech, the importance of how to convey a message. These are two important concepts as well. So we can say cooperation and etiquette of speech. These are the two concepts, inshallah, we talk about for a few minutes. Starting with the first in the verses is about how to deliver a message. So after Allah told him, go to Fir'aun, Musa alayhi salam said, قَالَ رَبِّ اشْرَحْ لِي صَدْرِي وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي وَاحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي يَفْقَهُ قَوْلِي. This is very well known among Muslims because this is something that usually people start their speech, their lecture, or even sometimes before talking in public they use it because it has that relevance that Musa alayhi salam asked Allah, Ya Allah.
Hello, James Greeny here from InternetBizUni.com. Just finished my live stream. So this is, you can see it here under events and completed. And now I'm just going to jump over to Video Manager. It should be
that you have this ability to tolerate, ignorance, resistance.
Over here as one of the videos. Yeah, saved automatically over here. So now I'm going to go into Edit. And then I'm going to jump up to Enhancement.
Expand and increase my tolerance and patience. In the other chapter in Surah Shirah, Allah said, didn't we expand your chest, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Allah said, we gave you this expansion of chest. Sadr, again, there, inshallah, maybe in another night, in another lecture, we can talk about that from the Islamic point of view, there are layers for the soul. One layer of the soul is Sadr, which is translated literally as chest. But of course, we're not talking about the physical, physiological aspect of the human being, but spiritually, the soul. One layer is, as I said, Sadr, one layer is Qalb, one layer is Ghazaf. There's so many layers, and each of them, according to tradition and the teaching of the Prophet and his family, they are unique and they have their own, responsibility. And sometimes each of them go through illnesses, plagues of the different layers of soul happen. So, for example, we have for the Qalb, there is a concept of
Basically, I want to cut out this intro. I just had this intro on before I started the live stream, but it's not until it hits this screen that the actual information starts. So this was just a preview stream. So I'll go back.
And again, that's a topic we will talk in the future. But the first thing Musa is asking is,
Okay, so I'll just find the point where that meets.
Ability to tolerate.
Okay. So,
after
like 11
Musa
seconds
said,
in,
you have a mission, go. To whom?
I just grab this,
To the
bring it
one
up
that
to
will claim that he
11
is the
seconds.
Lord of mankind. Ana rabbukum al-a'la. Somebody who declare himself a Lord, a Rabb to mankind. He has power.
but edit
He
some
has
process
every
users.
possible resources that you can imagine. He has the army, he has the numbers, he has the weaponry,
Hello,
he has
James
everything.
Greeny here from InternetBizUni.com.
And of
There's a
course, you go with
process.
such person who has
Then once
power,
that finishes processing, be able to click in, and it will be the video that I want without the intro.
Delicate lesson.
Okay, I hope this was helpful. And yeah, subscribe to the channel to find more helpful tips on growing your business on the internet, starting by launching your products onto Amazon. Cool, speak soon.
If you look at division, because they have the ability to start their own friction, not to hate on rich people, not because of that, not to sometimes this illusion of power, and sometimes even that you have a right to do anything.
One layer of the soul is sadr.
Money has that impact sometimes.
Chest, but of course, we're not talking about the physical.
That when you look at a lot of these ideologies, within Islam we have a lot of these new, probably last couple of 100 years, sects and madhabs, if you can't even call it madhab, who it was started by rich people. Imperialism is about money. It is about power. And when you go to the true religion, like Islam itself, it did not start with rich people. It was started by slaves, poor people, fuqara.
Basically, I want to cut out this intro. I just had this intro on before I started the live stream, but it's not until it hits this screen that the actual information starts. So this was just a preview stream.
Another side, when you want to see innovations, also, in another aspect, did not start with poor people. It's always start with resourceful
Okay, so
people.
I'll just find the point where that meets.
When you go to the airport,
So,
after
like 11
again, it's
seconds
not
in,
hating you have a mission. I'm telling you, this is that mentality.
I just grab
There's
this,
multiple lines.
bring it up to
There is a business class line, and then there is business first, all those, and then we have the other one, which is
Lord, a Rabb to mankind.
basically a basic
but edits
economy.
and process users.
Possible resources.
So they even categorize that one. They said the levels, but in general, for rich people, they have their own
Vision
language.
process. Then once that finishes processing, be able to click in, and it will be the video that I want without the intro. Okay, I hope this was helpful, and yes, subscribe to the channel to find more helpful tips on growing a business on the internet, starting by launching your products onto Amazon. Cool, speak soon.
If you look at division. Specifically Islam, it doesn't matter how much money you make. If you arrive in masjid first, you stand in the first line. That when you look at the money, that's the way it should. A lot of these ideologies, within Islam, the one who leads the prayer has to have piety, which is nothing to do with money, years, virtue, and you must have proper pronunciation. Has nothing to do with, can't even call it madhab. Has nothing to do with race or any other factor. Taqwa and recitation. You lead the prayer. Is about money. Go to Hajj, you take off everything, encircling Hajj, there's the same thing. It used to be a horrible thing in Hajj, and I think somehow they stopped it, was that poor people, the place that's supposed to be the essence of all that Islam and, the core of this religion is started, it used to be. That there were rich people, that they had some strong workers and servants carrying them around Hajj. For people, there was a carriage, and they were sitting on the top, usually overweight, rich people, and they were doing the hard work, the workers. They stopped it for some reason. I hope it was a good reason they stopped it. Means that it wasn't because of they saw that how horrible this is and how wrong it is, and that's the reason they stopped it. Not because they built the second and third floor and now that people can go somewhere else. This doesn't match this perception of being treated special. You want a VIP line, you want, as I said, it's business and first class. When you go to a center, when you go to even religion, sometimes that mentality, not to everyone, not for everyone, it get into your mind and you want that within the religion.
Okay, I hope this was
and
helpful.
That happens.
And yes, subscribe
you
to the
create
channel
your
to find
own
more helpful
small
on growing a
version
business
of
on the
religion
internet,
that is
starting
serving
by
you
launching your
properly.
products onto Amazon. Cool, speak soon.
see that. I encourage people to have their programs in community centers and masajid and musallias, because it's already a designated space to be used for that purpose. But I know that once, alhamdulillah, we have resources, so we love Imam Hussein, we love Ahlul Bayt, we love Dua Kumail, let's do it at home. And I don't know their intention, inshallah. Their intention is truly that they want the blessing come to their house, inshallah. But the reality is that sometimes that itself, it means, okay, I have a space and I'm going to use it that way. I'm not going to the masjid. Masjid is coming to me. It doesn't matter how much money you make. If you arrive at masjid first, you stand in the first line. So imagine this is the problem. Innahu tagha. Usually human being, we rebel when we feel powerful, when we feel resourceful. And in another chapter, Allah said, Innal insana tagha ar-ra'ahu istaghna. This is beautiful how fully Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recognizes who we are as creation of God. So do you know when human beings start to rebel? Innal insana tagha, when the tughyan of insan starts, ar-ra'ahu istaghna. Ra'a means when you see yourself. It's not that even if you really are or not. Ar-ra'ahu istaghna, when you feel and you see yourself as a ghani, as a rich and resourceful, that I don't need it. Right? Istighna means I don't need God, I don't need religion, I don't need anyone or anything. That's the moon of rebellion. That's what Fir'aun said, right? That's what Nimrud said. We have that Nimrud was challenged by Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim said, why you don't believe in Allah? He said, why you should believe in your God? Nimrud said to Ibrahim alayhi salam, said, because my creator, my Lord, is the one who gives life and who is the one who takes life. And Nimrud said, I do that too. Said, bring 2 prisoners, kill this one, let this one go. Get into your mind that, oh, I actually can't do that. And then Quran said that Ibrahim alayhi salam said, my Lord is the one that brings the sun from the east to the west, and that's the power of him. Can you reverse that? فَبُهِتَ الَّذِي كَفَرَ. That is the moment that he was in awe and without any response. This is, as I said, this delusion that we have everything, we have all the answers. And that's, by the way, one of those istighna in the past was money. Because when we were, as a human being, we were more primitive. We care about how to survive, shelter, gold, servants. You usually feel that we don't need God, we don't need religion, we don't need any of that because we have these other things. In our time, that's not the case anymore. Human beings' standard of what we need is not the same. We're not in a primitive level of survival anymore. If you look at this statistically, there's a lot of the comfort level of human being around the world is rising. If somebody was living 2,000 years ago, they probably were living the status of a king right now with electricity and with internet and I don't know, with this mass production of food and all that. We're living a very comfortable life. You can, as you know, as a middle class or even as a poor person, you can have access to a fruit that is not even a season for it because of transportation. Right? So we're living a very comfortable life as human beings. But what we are now considering ourselves rich is in information, science. In the past, Pharaoh used to say, I have the money, I have all what people are looking after is to survive. They need food, they need shelter, they need this, and I have all that. Right now is not the need of the people, is not that. It's about information, it's about knowledge, and now science is that sense of needlessness for some people. Oh, I'm a scientific person. Oh, I follow science. Oh, and science have all the answers for me. And that created delusion that science have all the answers, including that, again, if the science cannot understand soul, there's no soul. There is no ghaib, there is no unseen, because science cannot experience that, or our senses cannot comprehend it, so there's nothing. And Nimrud said, I do that too. So bring 2 prisoners, So we have a new form of istighna, a new form of needlessness in our own way. And when you're dealing with this, it is important that as Musa ﷺ knew, and we have to know it, that we need tolerance. We need patience. That when you go to somebody and you approach them with a message, you have to prepare yourself for opposition, rejection. That you're going to say something right and they're going to say no. They're going to make fun of you. They're going to laugh at you. For that, we need Rabbi Shrah li Sadri. So starting to etiquette of how to deliver a message, a speech, is number one, to have the tolerance. Because as a speaker, when I sit on this member, I have to be ready that somebody is going to object what I say. And I don't lose my control. Oh, how you dare question what I said or what I'm trying to say. I have to be ready for that. A prophet of God preparing himself for that, I definitely have to as well. Because if I don't have that tolerance, I will not be able to deliver the message. Rabbi Shrah li Sadri wa yassir li amri. Step number 2, in order to make an etiquette of how to deliver a speech, how to talk to people, basic how to start a conversation. In any conversation, we must have tolerance. We have to be ready for rejection. Be able to answer back, think about the proper response. When Imam Al-Hussein is talking to his, enemies, his foes at the time, they didn't understand. Whatever Imam said, they had a response to say. And Imam continued and continued until to some of them, Imam said, the reason you don't get what I'm saying is because your stomachs are filled with haram. You broke so many rules that for you it's easy to break. This is an additional rule for you to break to kill me. But he was ready for that rejection. He's the Imam, and imagine, he's the Imam. Step number 2 is to ask Allah. You can do a very well thorough, research. You really know what you're going to say. You basically make sure that your delivery is good. But still, you need to ask Allah, وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي, make this path possible for me. We need to still connect ourselves that because I deliver a good lecture, it doesn't mean even if I have a lot of patience and tolerance, it's no guarantee that it will be helpful. Ask Allah to make it possible. وَيَسِّرْ لِي أَمْرِي, made it easy and possible for me to achieve. The third one, وَحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي, untie, resolve if there is any twist, any imperfection in my tongue. We don't believe that Musa ﷺ had any physical disability, that he stuttered or anything. We don't believe in that. And some people look at that eyes, oh, he used to stutter. No. Prophet of God, and because Allah chose someone that is spiritually is in a state that will be able to deliver, and also even physically is able to deliver as well. The requirement for that job, for that position of prophethood. But why Musa is asking? Because he's going to stand before Fir'aun, somebody who has the power, has the number, have everything. So there's going to be a moment of stress, anxiety, anxiousness, and that requires asking Allah for support. It's easy to say, public speaking is easy, but it has its own anxiousness and stress, and everybody will tell you that. Regardless of how pious you are, the bigger the crowd, the bigger and the higher is your stress level. And that's fine, and you have to accept it that it is there. But ask Allah, do your preparation, and then ask Allah to help you in that. وَحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي. Make sure that my message is not incomplete. But ask Allah, do your preparation, and then يَفْقَهُ قَوْلِي. Make them understand my word as well. That they don't misunderstand the message. That they're not confused about what I'm saying. They actually get it. Remove the veil from your heart and eyes to see the truth. That approach is very different because in public speaking, and if you took a class in college, I've heard, and I don't know, for me, I should have taken that class. It was one of those requirements in California to take it. And I remember the person who was teaching about public speaking was saying, imagine that all the audience are sheeps. They're sheeps. You're the shepherd. That bring down the stress level. That's the worst way to deal with your audience, that they're sheeps. Yes, it could work in the short term and help you for a few seconds. A funny anecdote to look at. But as a person who wants to deliver a message, let's say I want to talk about my faith. I want to help somebody with a problem they have, God forbid, addiction or some big issue. I cannot look at them as sheep. I have to care for them, that they're learning and they figure out the message is important. That Musa alayhi salam is asking Allah, yafqahu qawli. He's making a dua for the recipient of the message. Ya Allah, help them understand my message. If there is a way that you can help them understand my message. If they have the potential to get the message, that you care for the audience. These are all the etiquettes of delivering a message, a speech, a conversation. Having tolerance, patience, asking Allah to help you in that path and in your mission. So rely and ask Him before. Sometimes we say something, and when it's done, we pray to God, okay, please don't let this speech to be something to be misunderstood, or that sometimes we have no backfire before even to start. That's the reason in Islamic lectures and minbar, they always start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah. They always start with the praise. You start with Allah and then you finish. You don't make the dua down. They always start with the praise. You start with Allah and then you finish. So it is important to learn the etiquette of it. So in Quran there's so many verses in that concept as well. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it is important to know the tone that you use in your speech, in your conversation, an ability to talk with others. Allah said, don't raise your voice, don't scream, don't shout. And Allah even used a comparison and said, Inna ankara al-aswad la-sawtul hamir. Look at the animals such as donkeys and how unpleasant their scream and shouting is. Don't do that. But at the same time, qulu qawlan sadida. Make sure that your words are strong, they're well-founded, they're firm. Don't shout, but don't be, lazy in delivery either. Don't just say whatever comes to your mind either. Because unfortunately, sometimes this is among our community members. Sometimes this is this misunderstanding. If I'm screaming right now, it means that what I'm saying is very important. See, all of you woke up. Shouting means important. If I'm screaming right now, it means that what I'm saying is very important. But that unfortunately was replaced with the sadid. That sometimes your statement has to be firm. Oh, I saw in a Snapchat or in WhatsApp somebody sent me a video that is very important. What kind of a quote is that? Where's the strength of that statement and that quote? And where is your, proper analysis of that statement? So there's this confusion. Don't scream, but don't be loose in your message either. Balance both. And you can deliver a very, very strong statement without shouting. It's possible. As we have sometimes the biggest and the loudest statement is silence. Right? Quran said, وَإِذَا خَطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. With ignorant people, the loudest statement you can make is to say nothing. To don't even involve yourself with the pointless, unended arguments. What's the point of the dispute? But that wisdom requires reflection to know when is the right time and what is the right things to be said. But that when it comes to that understanding, as I said, where to say something and when to say something and what to say. Where, when, what. That makes a proper statement, a proper answer, a proper amr bil ma'ruf, proper nahy anil munkar, proper reaction if we think about these three. When, where, what. And then Musa alayhi salam's story, that's clear. When, where, what. And you have to have all that quality. And, for example, qawlul haq, say the truth. And you have to have all right? Say the truth. And, for example, because when we say something, you can be very strong, we can be very calm and very smooth in delivery, but we say a false statement, a false concept. We can't. Be aware of that. The way we talk to our children, it is important to have that idea. There is no need to scream at our children, but there is no need to laugh at them when they make a mistake either. To laugh with them when they make a mistake. It is important to have discipline without violence. It's possible. We need that etiquette of speech, etiquette of conversation. Discipline without violence. What level? What tone? What to say? And that's the reason so many traditions said, be careful about this small piece. That is, جرمه صغير وجرمه كبير. Its weight is very minimal, but when it comes to the crime that it could commit is enormous. We can destroy his lives if you want to with this. You can enter a religion and leave religion with this, right? You can destroy somebody's honor and reputation with this. And that is very important to how to use this. In Islamic ideology, in Islamic fiqh, if 4 witnesses come and testify somebody of committing a sin, adultery for example, if out of 4, 3 of them say the same thing, look at the tongue. 3 of them say the same thing. 1 of them, their statement is different. All 4 will be punished. All 4 will be punished. And their punishment is more severe than the adultery itself. All 4 will be punished. And their punishment is more severe than the adultery itself. This negligence and going to extreme is the problem. I finish with this inshallah in next 5 minutes. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. This negligence and going to extreme is the problem. I finish with this inshallah in next 5 minutes. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. That this always, unfortunately, it's among some individuals is extreme, because our decisions are not coming from reflection, come from emotions. And emotions, usually we go hard, we go strong, but don't have continuous progress. It's like people at the New Year, they said, I will stop doing what are wrong. They call New Year's resolution, right? I will stop eating unhealthy food. I start exercising. Everybody have great ideas. It's emotional, and then a week later, a month later, done. Emotions are important, but if it doesn't come from the proper place, they won't have that long-lasting impact. So I know people when they're being said, okay, it's important to control your tongue. They stop talking in general. They don't even talk to their kids and family anymore. They don't even speak up when they see something wrong is happening. So I'm controlling my tongue. I said, you have to speak up. And then there are others who said, speak up, and then you cannot make them quiet. You cannot stop talking. They have an opinion about everything. Your shirt, I don't like it. The way you smile is not good. The way you wear hijab has a problem. They have a problem with everything. They have a suggestion for everything. It's not amr bil ma'ruf or nahy anil munkar, it's suggestions. It's the imbalance. That's something maybe we can think, right? I give you an example. There was a program I participated for a celebration. There was a sitting outdoor. they organized the chairs in a certain way. And somebody came loudly, said, "Oh, why you put the seats like this?" And somebody answered, "Why?" Few minutes later, another person asked the same question. And I literally, when it come to my turn, said, okay, before anybody else asks this question, understand people also are able to see. You're not the only one who see them the way that these seats are being placed. They thought about this. These chairs are being, positioned the way they are. There's some thoughts. Just give that idea. Maybe they thought about it. Maybe they considered that as well, without you saying it. And then you see how many unnecessary arguments will never happen because we know when to say something and when we don't. Cooperation, I leave it inshallah for next week to talk about that. But one more statement is that how we know if our conversations, the way we talk, our speech and our ability to talk with others, if it has problem or not. Ask your family. They're the best one that they can tell you if there's something wrong with the way you talk. Because in front of other people we have masks sometimes. We don't show who we are. But with the family, eventually you remove it. You become who you are. And we have to work on that aspect before anything else. Ask your family to tell you, okay, do you think I speak, loudly? Do you think my tone, my language, the way I speak, do you feel that is intrusive or disrespectful? If they tell you yes, that's most probably the right thing. That's probably the accurate opinion. I finished with this. I said, if you want to know if somebody is adil or not, if somebody is just or not, to pray behind them, I said it before. My teacher used to say, if you want to know if somebody is adil and just enough to pray, to lead the prayers, he said, just see if their family members pray behind them or not. If the answer is yes, they're adil, go for it. Of course, there's sometimes family members, they don't pray. That's a different story. People choose their own path. But if they pray and they don't pray behind that person, that's not a good sign. May Allah give us the tawfiq to be in charge of what we say, to think and reflect, as Imam Ali alayhi salam said, like uqala and aqil and wise people who think before every single word that they're going to say to anyone. One of the worst things we say is, oh, we're family, it's okay if I say something mean. We've been married for 30 years, and I've been in situation that somebody said something very rude to their spouse in front of me. A wife said something about their husband, or husband said about wife. That make no difference. And I told them in private that was very rude. I said, Sheikh, we've been married for 30 years. And I said, that is a better reason to be more respectful. You have 30 years of history. If you don't know somebody and you're not going to see them tomorrow, if you're rude to them, again, probably it's still wrong, but it's not going to see them again. They're going to walk away. But this person, you're going to see them every day. May Allah give us that tawfiq to appreciate this gift of Allah, which is ability to communicate, this ability to express our thoughts, our reflection, our pondering, and to use it for the best possible way, to use it for the sake of khair, for the sake of preaching for khair and good. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq of dhikr. As Quran said in Dua Qumar, we also said, right? وَاجْعَلْ لِسَانِي بِذِكْرِكَ لَهِجَا. Ya Allah, made my tongue to be used to saying your remembrance, your dhikr, that enjoys reciting your name. That I say it not out of force and necessity, but I say it out of sweetness and joy that I earn from reciting your name. May Allah give us that tawfiq. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.